For life.
Yeah. Bullet cast. What's going on? Stacy. This elite podcast in here. Ain't nobody better. Look. Yeah. Listen to us every time we live in the side. When you turn it on, it's just defining the mind. If you feel it, our opinions is great. When everything we move.
Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am the microphone messiah, Phillip Brandon. The Canadian destroyer, Brandon Tanguma, is here. It's just the OG Bullet Cast today. Katie's not here. Brian's not here because, well, he's never here. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. What's up, everybody? We're back. OG Bullet Cast in his house.
It's kind of apropos. It's the OGs before the last. This is the last one before episode 300. The big one next week.
299. It's the go home show before. We have some special things planned for next week, but this is your regularly scheduled Bullet Cast, so we're going to go over all the news and notes on the week. And so, of course, me and Phillip had to show up and do our thing. Well, shout out Katie. She's got work. She's got like hell week this week. So, yeah, shout out.
Hell week. I'm going through a real hell week. I'm out here working out with Juicy.
I saw that. Shout out Phillip. Getting in the grind. He's got to do a little bit more than that if he wants to beat me. But I appreciate the grind you're on right now.
I know. I walked in Thursday. He said 1,000 squats. I said, what? But I did them. Might not have been able to fully function my legs until yesterday, but still, I did them. Come on and join Toko Fit, Brandon. Come join Toko Fit, Brandon.
Well,
unless you're not about that life.
If I were to go, then you're just giving up your little secret sauce, and we're just going to be on the same level. If we're on the same level, you're not on my level.
What do you mean? We're just working out, bro. We're not wrestling. You're not seeing my moves.
Yeah, but I think the biggest issue with me is my physical fitness. And I think if I can get my physical fitness under wraps, it's a wrap for you. You got no chance. If I can at least not gas out within the first 15 seconds of this, I think I got it.
Oh, really?
I got this.
Oh, really? Oh, man. We'll see. Speaking of Big Toko, Juicy Finau has returned to the Bullet Cast. That was a fun one, man. It was a lot of fun. We did it after the 1,000 squats. Brandon, what were your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this one?
So, not gonna lie, I've not listened to it yet, but it is on. It is on deck. I didn't get the heads up that you were gonna do an interview, so I didn't have it, ready. I didn't schedule it down.
I posted it.
I know, but I got some other things, some other podcasts, and it's an evergreen podcast. You can go back to it, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna
go back to it tomorrow. For everyone, if you are on this show and I post an interview, I expect you to listen to it before the next recording so we can talk about it.
It's still there. See, I didn't do any gimmicks. It's still there. It's saved. So
I might have to find a whole new crew. Jesus.
After I listen to my PW Torch, shout out a Rich Fan, friend of the podcast.
Friend of mine.
Okay, he's not friend of the podcast?
I mean, you're a friend of the podcast if you've been on the podcast.
Oh, okay. So just a friend of Phillip. A personal friend of Phillip, Rich Fan. Shout out.
Yes. Juicy Finau. It's a great interview. Talk about MLW. Talk about Big Toko's kickback, which Brandon was there for.
I was there for. It was an interesting. They literally tore the place down as the lights for the entire block went out.
Yes, and then we got the big show coming up November 4th in Vallejo. Yeah, man. I told Juicy, like, hey, man, like, this is kind of like AEW in a way, because, like, Cody and the boys, they did All In, and then they started a company. He did a show, then started a company. It's kind of the same thing. Yeah, no, but it's great. Oasis Pro, man. I'm having a lot of fun just hanging out with those dudes and doing the workout. I highly advise anybody in the Bay to hit them up, slide in their DMs, and go check out the interview. NXT Halloween Havoc happened. Brian Tronick is still the champion.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Thoughts on NXT Halloween Havoc, man?
It was a solid show. now in this new kind of NXT 3.0. They have a lot more of the NXT UK guys coming on over, but the ladder match was fun. What you'd expect, a lot of high impact, high flippy flop moves. Everything else kind of seemed the same. There's a lot of gimmick matches, a lot of brawling. The main event triple threat with Dragunov, JD, and Braun Breaker. Really solid match. Braun gets the win at the end. And Shotzi was there, Town Business. They were doing some Halloween gimmicks. Not a big fan of the Alba Fire, Mandy Rose kind of half cinematic, half regular match. I think we can leave the cinematic matches back in the COVID era. I think we've long passed the cinematic matches, and it doesn't really fit with their characters either. So I wasn't a total fan of that. But overall, it was like a decent show with a couple good matches on there. And if you've kind of followed the storylines and you kind of know what's going on, I think it does make it better. It's not a show you can just, not like the old NXT days, you can just jump in and there's 5-star matches everywhere. It's highly reliant on the stories and the storylines that have been going on.
Then watch the product, Mr. No Days Off.
I'm saying that. I'm saying for the people who might want to check it out, I'm just letting them know you can't just jump in and expect, some flippy doos and some 5-star Matt Classic like it's NXT 2016.
Okay. SmackDown, we're just going to talk about the Bray Wyatt promo. Bray said he didn't get to finish what he was going to say last week, but basically the gist of this promo is he cannot control what's about to happen. He's about to do terrible things, and he will feel no remorse for them.
Interesting, as he was like the full-fledged babyface a couple weeks ago, and now kind of not exactly a heel turn, but basically saying he's going to be doing bad things.
I know I did the Spider-Man reference last week. I'm going to do another one. Maybe the symbiote got to him.
Oh. Technically, shouldn't he always have had the symbiote? It's always been with him.
No, like Peter Parker in Spider-Man 3. Like, he didn't always have it. It got to him and he changed. At some point over the course of last week or over the course of that week, the symbiote got to Bray Wyatt.
Still early. Not going to cast any judgment, but we did see like another vignette. I don't know exactly what to call it, but the frantic cutting in and out in different little images with the mask, another QR code that links to like a psychiatric fill in the blank questionnaire thing with Bray Wyatt's name on it. So still early. I don't know what to make of it. It's an interesting first few steps. Bray kind of outwardly saying he's not a good guy after him being the, Wyndham Rotunda high smiley guy a couple weeks ago. Wonder what the next step is, because people saying he's like in a feud with himself, which is cool, but I don't know how exactly it's going to work out. Unless he picks somebody, which I don't know who he's going to pick.
Holograms, brother, holograms.
I said, leave that cinematic stuff back in 2020.
No, that's how you're different, bro. Do the cinematic stuff in front of a crowd. That's how you stand out.
It's like the Haunted Mansion or something.
Probably. All right, moving on from that, outside of the ring, Elimination Chamber will be in Canada next year. We thought it was going to be in Saudi for another Blood Money show, but it will not be. It's going to be it's going to be in Montreal. So, yay.
Yeah, cool. Definitely would much rather have a premium live event take place in Canada rather than Saudi Arabia. So excited. Still a gimmick pay-per-view. Unfortunately, we're still getting another one of those. But
apparently Hell in the Cell has been done away with. So I hear.
Thank God, because they really did a number on Hell in the Cell like the past 10 years with the.
There were some great Hell in the Cell matches at those.
I'm not saying there weren't good matches, but you kind of diminish the value when now with the women's revolution, now you have to have at least one men's and one women's match, and they don't exactly. Some of them fit the Hell in a Cell, but they didn't need the Hell in a Cell, and so kind of pulling that back, and maybe we get one or two Hell in a Cell matches a year, but they're not on the same month. And because the poster says Hell in a Cell, I'm much happier for that. But Elimination Chamber, usually they do it as like a eliminator type match to figure a number one contender or crown new champion before WrestleMania. So that's fine.
Yeah. Dark Side of the Ring season 4 is already underway. I guess they've stopped at their Tales of the Territories. Which, Brandon, have you seen Tales from the Territories?
I have them all saved up on the DVR.
I watched a full episode last night. I think it was the Florida one with Kevin Sullivan, who will just jump to it. His birthday today. He's 73 years old. Yeah, Dark Side of the Ring season 4 is underway. Friend of the show, Ted DiBiase, is being interviewed for one, so I'm excited. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I thought maybe Dark Side of the Ring was going away for the Tale of the Territories and Dark Side of the Ring.
This is why you need to listen to Sam Roberts.
Oh,
he had one of the
sorry.
dudes on. They said they took a break from Dark Side to fully focus on Tales of the Territories. Now that that's done, they're going to fully focus back on Dark Side of the Ring.
Which I'm all for. I think, that team does a fantastic job. I haven't seen any of the Tales of the Territories, but I would assume they're very good and kind of in the same vein.
Yeah, your girl Medusa's in one.
Shout out Medusa.
Shout out.
Being able to focus on, because telling the story of an entire territory in an hour is a little bit of a lofty goal. Focusing in on like one particular wrestler or an incident, I think, is a little easier to do those types of documentaries for. So excited to see what they can do, because unfortunately there are a lot of dark side stories that you can go over.
Absolutely. What else was I gonna say? They're doing one about WCCW, World Class, which is going to be fun. Speaking of that, Zac Efron, he has emerged a photo of him has emerged as Kevin Von Erich,
looking real yacked,
gearing up for the Iron Claw movie that's going to be coming out. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I love like the World Class territory. The Von Erichs, they were super babyface. So it's just I'm excited about that whole project.
Yeah, I mean, Zac Efron looked good. I think he can be a good role for that movie, whether they're playing it super straight or if he has some comedic elements to it as well. I think no matter what they do, I think people who don't really pay attention to Zac Efron might laugh and be like, oh, that's just the High School Musical guy, but he's a decent actor.
Yeah, bro. I'm so glad he got out of that High School Musical. I mean, he'll still that's still what you're gonna go to, you know what I mean? But he's not just known for that anymore, which is good.
It's kind of like Robert Pattinson. He's the Twilight guy, but he's so much more than that. He's a much better actor than Zac Efron too. Shout out Batman. I'm Batman.
So was he supposed to play one of the Von Erichs?
No, but I'm just saying, one of those guys who are kind of typecast in one role, and they've kind of grown out of that. Now we're a movie podcast. We're focusing on the entertainment of the sports entertainment.
Sure.
We're pop culture podcast now.
Tommaso Ciampa is out for 9 months after he's had hip surgery. Kind of wondering where he's been at. Speedy recovery.
Yeah, this sucks. He finally got his call up to the main roster. He was doing some decent work with The Miz, kind of was wishing or waiting for him to break off. And, injuries have certainly caught up with him these last few years. And now instead of a neck, now it's a hip. And he's going to be gone for a while. So maybe now he can come back and fully under the Triple H umbrella, he can get a full repackaging and he can just be Tommaso Ciampa next year.
I think when he comes back, we'll hear the "No one will survive." I think that's what's gonna. That'd be great. That'd be massive. Moving on from that, Ava Raine, aka The Rock's daughter, has debuted in NXT. She is now the 4th member of Schism with Joe Gacy and the others. Before we talk about this, have you seen Black Adam?
I have not seen Black Adam.
You haven't?
I have not.
Why not?
Not the biggest DC person in the world.
Wow, DC is better than Marvel. I'll say it here.
I don't know about that.
It's a fact.
I mean, I watched the Batman movie, and that Batman movie with Robert Pattinson was fantastic. That's not exactly that type of DC movie, but the DCEU is just a complete cluster. You know what? But
DC is better than Marvel. I will say it here. It is.
Black Panther coming out in a couple weeks. Cannot wait for that.
Black Panther is the best Marvel superhero. I'll say it. He's better than Spider-Man. Better than Iron Man.
T's and P's.
People love Iron Man. He doesn't have powers, guys. Batman doesn't have powers. People are like, oh, he's just rich. He doesn't have powers. So Batman's better than Iron Man. Honestly, I kind of
Well,
want.
technically, Black Panther doesn't have any powers either. It's all the suit.
But I want Black Panther to be a DC character. That'd be fantastic. I would need that.
I don't think that's gonna happen. But...
Anyway, Black Adam, he dies at the end. Anyway,
wow, spoiler alert.
Yeah, Ava Raine has debuted. I'm gonna play the clip from her promo.
The love and acceptance the schism has given me defies any preconceived notions of who I'm supposed to be. This family completes me.
Stop that there. Defies any preconceived notions of what she's supposed to be. Obviously, acknowledging the fact that she is Dwayne's daughter, but she's not going to go out there saying Hifya Samel and all that other stuff. I like it. I'm a fan. I'm a fan already. Stand out get out of their shadow, be different. I like that.
I see that she's finally made her debut in NXT. I know she kind of had an injury during training. Now she's back. The name, it's still kind of eye rolling to me, but if you're going to go down that road of not kind of acknowledging it, but they kind of acknowledged it, I think this is kind of the good character for her, kind of in her own group, kind of being a much different character than what her dad was. And, later on down the line, when she gets called up to the main roster, maybe she's more of a straightforward character. Then I think you kind of go down the Charlotte Flair route where you kind of have to acknowledge the obvious. But for what she is right now, I haven't really seen any of her work because she doesn't really have any work. I'm keeping an open mind, but she does have a lot of big shoes to fill. But people shouldn't just say like, "Oh, she's the Rock's daughter. She has to be the Rock." She can be her own woman and be whatever character she wants to be.
Ava Raine, Roman Reigns, a little acknowledgement there too. With the similarity in the names.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, her dad was in the group. Shout out the nation. Now she's in this group.
I think if we do get Roman and The Rock next year, I think it's still way too early to introduce her into the story. But
we're not introducing her into any of it. I'm just saying.
I did see a video on Bleacher Report of him kind of helping her out with training. I thought it was kind of cool. If you haven't, go on Bleacher Report Wrestling.
I've seen that
on Instagram.
With
it's a little video.
I've seen that. It's nice. We already talked about this day in wrestling. Let's go over to the.
Happy birthday to Wheeler Yuta and CM Punk. Only one of those birthdays were acknowledged on AEW today.
Oh, today! Happy birthday to Phil, bro. Love
going through some things.
Love Phil. Apparently his dog was hurt in the scuffle. I guess.
Poor Larry. I guess Kenny Omega didn't do enough to protect old Larry.
I guess he did not. Apparently Punk wants a buyout of his contract with a no compete.
I think it's a kind of at the beginning when it first happened, I think people were kind of optimistic that maybe he would come back, and we were in the heat of the moment and saying, "Oh, he's going to come back. It'll be fine," or whatever the case may be. But now the dust has settled. We've kind of had over a month and a half to kind of digest everything. He's definitely not coming back. It sucks, obviously, as a big Punk guy, but maybe just wrestling in that environment isn't healthy for him, and physically and mentally. And
bro, he give him 3 matches a year, a limited amount of TVs, call it a day. Like 3 matches, 10 TVs, call it a day, bro. Like that's it.
But I mean, it's not just like him; it's also other people were not a big fan of. I mean, people will focus.
Give this man his own locker room. Then
people will focus on him calling out the Elite and Hangman Page, but he also kind of buried the entire locker room as well as saying like, "Oh, like I'm trying to run a company, and these kids don't know what they're doing these days."
Hey, Britt Baker was on the Swerve City podcast, and she said that she's like basically the quote was she started people like focusing on the toxicity of the locker room, just because one individual thinks they're bigger than the company. Some people speculate she was talking about Thunder Rosa. A lot of other people think she was talking about CM Punk.
I mean, but that also seems to be the case too. Like we've seen all these different things with Sammy and Andrade and Punk and Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, but on the whole, from my sources, it seems as though like the AEW locker room is fine. Like it's just a regular locker room with, they get together for the most part. They go to TV. They are pretty much fine, but these incidents leak out and you don't hear about the good stuff or the no news. So when you hear a little scuffle or a little argument, that's going to get much more attention than just people hanging out and having a fine time at work.
Absolutely. And Brad is X.
Mr. X.
When Charlotte comes back, would you like to see her winning both titles and holding them for a long run, just like Roman?
I would say no.
I think it's time for one championship though in the women's division though.
I mean, if we're gonna merge the two titles, I'm all for that. I think my thing is like the long reign part of it. Like at this point, if we're kind of booking out WrestleMania for this year or for next year, I kind of am thinking like Bianca and Charlotte for the Raw side, and then Becky and Ronda for the SmackDown side. And so maybe we go and we can combine them, whether it is at WrestleMania Night 2 or later on down the road. But I think for right now, keeping them separate is okay. But at the long run, I would like just one title for the women's division, especially now we have a tag title scene.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. What exactly do you think is the angle they have going on with Eddie Kingston right now?
I don't know. He had a little bit of a promo with Renee Paquette where he just kind of said like, y'all don't worry about me, worry about yourselves. I don't know. I mean, I love Eddie. I kind of want more for him. He seems to always lose his feuds. And I went back when CM Punk was the champion. I always said, Eddie Kingston, I feel as though could have been that guy to beat Punk. It would have been such a great story, but that's not going to happen anymore. I mean, Eddie Kingston maybe eventually beating a heel MJF as he's trying to leave the company, and like the anti-company guy of Eddie Kingston beating MJF next year at Winter is Coming 2023, I would think would be fantastic. Now, is that going to happen? Probably not, but short term, I don't know what they're doing with Eddie Kingston. He's just kind of just there. I mean, at least he's getting television time. That's more than you can say for Andrade and Miro and all these other guys.
Speaking of Miro, his wife CJ Perry was on In the Click. Shout out Baby Huey. Shout out In the Click. Go check it out. She's on, what's that show called? God, what's that show called?
The Surreal Life.
The Surreal Life. Yeah, she's on there with Kim Coles, who I love. She's a great guy. Dennis Rodman. She living with Dennis Rodman. That must be something.
I see the commercials on MTV, and pretty much the selling point of this is Dennis Rodman walks around the house butt ass naked all the time.
Multiple time NBA champion, former member of the NWO, walking around naked.
Well, if you're NWO, you're NWO for life. So
brother, that doesn't entice you?
Can't be a former member. I mean, hey, back in the late 2000s, I mean, I was the biggest VH1 reality guy. I would watch the Flavor of Love, the Brett Michaels show, Surreal Life.
Flavor of Love.
Hey, shout out Flavor Flav. I saw him on TikTok. 2 years sober. Shout out Flavor.
What's your favorite? Who was your favorite on Flavor of Love? Who was your favorite?
I mean,
was it New York?
It's got to be New York. I mean, Pumpkin spitting on New York is one of the most iconic scenes in television history, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Bro, I mean, Hoops. I loved Hoops. She was gorgeous. I didn't know she had a thing with Shaq. I was like, oh, this is interesting. But yeah, Hoops. Shout out Hoops. Shout out Hoops. New York. Oh my god. Oh my god. Were you watching Bad Girls Club too?
No, I think
you weren't watching Oxygen?
I was more of a VH1 MTV type of guy. Sometimes, throw on BET for 106 in Park, but
you were watching 106.
Yeah, back in the day,
Who are you? Who are you? You're not Brandon. No.
I don't know, who am I then?
You're watching 106. What do you know about some 106? What you know?
It's been a while.
Were you just watching when Bow Wow was there? Or what? Were you watching when Terrence J was there. What?
I would watch the Terrence one, and then he left, or the girl left, or somebody left, and it wasn't the same after that.
They did leave, and it wasn't the same. You're right. Last one, he says, being that Halloween is this Monday, which spooky character over the years do you think best embodies the spirit of Halloween? Also, favorite candy and go-to scary movie.
Not the biggest scary movie guy, not because I'm like scared of them, but just it's something I don't go out and watch. But for something I used to watch all the time would be Freddy versus Jason.
Okay.
I like that movie. Well, I don't know if I like that movie, but I just have nostalgia for it because I was like,
had Kelly Rowland in it. Shout out Kelly.
Shout out. Favorite candy? I mean, I'm usually like a sour guy.
Oh,
I think for like for Halloween candy, like a Kit Kat or something
You're
like
a
that.
sour guy? That explains your attitude sometimes.
I'm
kidding.
I'm a little sourpuss. I'm here all night, Phillip. Okay, don't yell at me.
Just play it. Scary movie. I'm gonna go Scream. I love the Scream franchise. That's my go-to. Candy, like chocolate, like Kit Kat, Snickers. Bro, I was in a gas station the other day, right? They had this Kit Kat blueberry muffin Kit Kat gimmick. Oh my god! I didn't try it, but I'm like, this might be good. Are you a fan of the Kit? You're a fan of the Kit Kats?
I love Kit Kat.
Would you try this blueberry muffin Kit Kat? Would you try this?
I guess. I'm always down to try the gimmick flavors. I used to be in a big Oreo phase a few years ago. I'd try all the different Oreos.
You never told me this.
I'm a little porker.
When we went to StarCast, guess who are Oreo people?
Who are Oreo people?
The beautiful people.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest Oreo people in the business.
I know Allie does, or the bunny. She has a YouTube video, and I think it's her gimmick where she tries different Oreos because I saw her do one with Danhausen, and they tried some type of Oreo. I don't want to say it's butterscotch, but it's just something like that. Something like that.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Paranormal Activity, also a favorite of mine for the nostalgia, because when I was in high school, that movie just came out and it was the biggest thing ever.
Halloween? What about Halloween? Have you seen the new one?
I have not seen the Halloween. It's on the cock. I know.
You cannot say that.
Sorry, the peacock. The peacock. It's on Peacock.
Jesus. I saw a little bit of Halloween Ends. It's whatever.
The favorite, like, what was the parameters for like favorite scary wrestler or something?
I guess which spooky character over the years do you think best embodies the spirit of Halloween?
Best spooky character that embodies the spirit of Halloween.
It has to be my friend the Boogeyman. He was back in WWE. He was on the bump. Shout out Boogeyman.
Saw he was giving Shotzi worms or something.
Yes, bro. The worms are they're shoot real, bro.
Hey, of course they are. He don't mess around.
Bro, like he threw some. You got to come to one of these shows that he's at, Brandon. You have to come, please. You have to come. He threw some, and like I'm looking on the ground. I'm like, oh, they're actually moving. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy.
Shout out Jekyll's the Jester. There you go.
Oh, you're a Jekyll's guy.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Jekyll's. He's the new SPW heavyweight champion. Shout out to my homie Sean Sims, the new next level heavyweight champion. He's wrestling for the WWZ title this weekend. We'll see. Yeah, so we're gonna move on from that. It's probably gonna be a short episode this week. I like that. Let's go over to Monday Night Raw. Bayley defeats Bianca Belair in a fantastic contest, and then Nikki Cross is back. Crazy Nikki is back with a little glam, or Thicky Cross. That's for Sean. Shout out. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, good match. Excited to see that Nikki Cross is back. Seems like a new character, not exactly, crazy Nikki or happy upbeat Nikki that she was doing with Alexa Bliss. So kind of a merger of the two, much more human type character. So I think she's super talented, and I'm excited to see that she's kind of putting this main event picture, or at least, top level. I mean, kind of the main event for Raw has been the women, because that's a lot of where their star power is. So I'm glad to see her back, and she shed the Nikki ASH mask, and she's going to probably be in some sort of like triple threat feud with them. So I'm excited to see what Nikki Cross can do. What
are your thoughts on Nikki ASH, bro? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, we've been here since the beginning. I did not like it. I thought it was dumb. I did not care that it
wasn't Vince's idea. It was hers.
I know, and I was gonna say I don't care if it was her idea. Just because it's an original idea from the wrestler, they can still have dumb ideas.
I like how once people found out it was her idea, they stopped criticizing it as hard. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Y'all not gonna talk tough to her, but you'll talk tough to VKM?
Now, I will say it worked a little bit better as a babyface, and then once she turned, it just lost like little credibility that it had.
I think
it just went completely out the window.
I think the Money in the Bank win and the quick little run was the height of that was the moment. That was the height of it, and it was over.
Yeah, but I mean, any Money in the Bank win or cash in, it's going to get over. You can give it to pretty much anybody, and it's going to be a big moment. So I don't think that's a high bar to cross. Pun intended.
You can't give it to just anybody. Can't give it to just anybody.
I mean, Austin Theory has it.
Okay, well, yeah, but look at him.
I mean, the man's scared to cash it on Roman. He was almost going to cash it on the NXT Championship.
Almost, but he didn't.
Which I think is the best idea. If you're not going to cash it and lose on Roman, don't cash it on the IC US title. Cash it on the NXT Championship. Kind of a throwback to when Charlotte won the title or won the Rumble. And challenge Rhea. At least it's the top championship for that promotion. You're not going after a secondary title. You look like a little scaredy cat.
We'll see. Finn Balor defeats Carl Anderson.
Good match. Bullet Club brothers going at it. Carl Anderson and New Japan and WWE, I guess, are in a little bit of a pickle since he's double booked, brother. And New Japan is just saying, like, if he ain't showing up and he's defending against Hikuleo for the never open weight title, he's dropping that thing. So interesting to see what's going on there.
We shall see. Apparently, NWA has been having talks with the WWE. Billy Corgan's reached out. He's had talks with Triple H. Nothing concrete yet, but Corgan is hopeful.
Well, it didn't work in 1998. I don't know if it's going to work in 2022.
Well, there's a different person in charge. We'll see. Baron Corbin defeats Johnny Gargano, JBL. He had pants that fitted much better this time. Corbin had better looking gear. That's
not hard to do, but glad to see he's looking a little bit better. Not the biggest fan of Gargano of losing here. But I don't know why
he lost to the modern day wrestling god.
I also don't know why JBL has to be with Baron Corbin. Like Baron Corbin, I said this last week.
JBL is a wrestling god, and Baron Corbin is now a modern day wrestling god. Then herefore, you need tutelage from the previous wrestling god. It's basically like when we get a new president and you see them shaking hands or whatever when the president-elect comes to the White House and they're talking for a little bit. And when the president leaves the new president a note in the Oval Office. That's basically what this is, except he's giving
except for the last president.
Well, yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. Good riddance. But you know what I'm saying? JBL's doing these things, but he's consulting him, every week in front of the fans.
Sure. But I mean, at least have Corbin talk. Like if you're gonna have JBL out there and talk, like Corbin could at least say something or do something. He's not a mute. He's not some of these other wrestlers who really can't talk. Like he's one of the better talkers they have on the roster. Why don't you utilize that? But
when he talks, it'll mean something.
Everybody is waiting on pins and needles for Baron Corbin to talk.
Yes, as you should, because he's a modern day wrestling god.
Not to be confused with the modern day Maharaja.
Shout out Jinder Mahal.
Former WWE champion.
Yes, those are good times. R-Truth defeated The Miz. It was great to see Truth back on TV. You can give it this and you can give it that. This is where it's at. What's up?
What's up? Shout out R-Truth. He's still here, still having matches and still kicking it, even though he's like 50 or almost 50, over 50. I don't know. He's been here a while. I mean, He was out there working with Road Dogg back in 2000, whatever, and we saw what Road Dogg looks like, and we see what R-Truth looks like.
Hey, black don't crack unless you do it.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
But and I see R-Truth back in the mix. Not a complete, goof. So that's good. Then finally we had Austin Theory defeating Mustafa Ali. Rollins was there, and we got a brawl commentary, and he buried Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke was not so happy about that, but if you're the 24/7 champion, you should expect to catch some some shade or strays.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I guess. What are you gonna do
I mean, where's the 24/7 championship?
with Dana Brooke?
What was like the last time we saw it? Because I know they did like the whole thing with the marriage.
I saw it when I went to that Raw. That's when Dana Brooke wrestled Tamina.
And then they got Reggie. Where's Reggie?
Probably on Main Event, bro.
Mm.
Main Event had some good matches that night. I went to that Raw. Had Shelton was out there. I think he was tagging with. Was he tagging with Ali? He might have been tagging with Ali.
I know Shelton and R-Truth have a little tag team going.
Supposedly, yeah.
That's what the internet tells me.
Yep. AEW did not see a lick of this. Brandon, go.
Oh, so I get to run it. Love to see it or hear it. We started off with the Blackpool Combat Club of Wheeler Yuta and not Cesaro, Claudio Castagnoli defeating Garcia and Jericho. Claudio pins Jericho. Decent, fun little match to start off the show. Some chicanery on the outside. Bryan Danielson was in the back with Renee Paquette. He cut a promo kind of going over all his frustrations over the past few weeks. Little intense talk backstage with Yuta. And they said they were all going to talk together as one family and hash it out because, families might yell at each other, but they all going to come together for the bigger, betterment of the group or whatever. But kind of the big news everyone's talking about is the Elite were shown on television. We had a vignette. It was big historical moments of the Elite, and they would be shown, and then they would be kind of edited, photoshopped out of those moments. So rumors were at the beginning of the day that they were coming back, and now we see them here. First time outwardly shown and referenced on AEW television. Phillip, it looks like the Elite is coming back. How do you introduce them, and what? I know you probably didn't see the video, but what do you think?
I saw the video on Twitter. Pull events, have them come back like nothing happened. I don't know how else to do it, man.
Yeah, they are kind of put in an awkward situation, but it is glad to see that they're back. We have Swerve in our glory. Swerve and Keith Lee defeat FTR, so now they're the official number one contenders. Some chicanery with Swerve hitting Dax
what
with
was
a low
the
blow.
point of having them as number one contenders for all this time, and then for them to lose a number one contenders match? Doesn't make any sense.
Just so they can establish that Swerve and Lee are the number one contenders, I guess. Ass Boys were on the outside and they beat down FTR, so it looks like we're getting an Ass Boys FTR feud, so fantastic. Match itself was good until kind of the ending kind of derailed it, but we're getting Swerve and Lee taking on the Acclaim sooner rather than later, it seems like. Then we get MJF cutting another strange back and forth heel babyface promo with Renee Paquette on the stage. Stokely Hathaway comes in and he tells Stokely that the firm shall not touch Jon Moxley because he wants to beat him at 100%, and he's not going to use the Dynamite Diamond Ring. So continuing of MJF flipping and flopping.
MJF is turning babyface. What Sam Roberts said this, and it made sense to me. Last week with the William Regal interview, or the promo, it was Austin Brett at 13. It was the switch. Now, not fully, because, people, they still love William Regal and MJF. He's not fully a babyface yet, but he's going to be like, there's humility there now. You know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, but then there's also the little things of him, taking a dig at Renee.
Yeah, but he's not fully there yet. There's still going to be those quirks about him, you know. Uh, so I mean, like Sam Roberts said that when Rigo turned his back and MJF put on that ring, like 2019 MJF, 2020 would have clocked him, but now, no, no. I mean, this turn really started back during the CM Punk feud when MJF would get vulnerable, talking about meeting his hero and things like that. And then you saw the stuff he did, the promo with Tony Khan. We didn't see him for months. And then to do this and saying he almost killed myself over an email. Yeah, man.
I'm a little bit more skeptical than you are, Philip. This does end in a MJF babyface turn. I'm not going to hate it. It's very similar to like the Bray Wyatt stuff. I'm trying to be optimistic and trying to, believe they're going to head in the right direction. But I think that's kind of the issue is I don't know exactly how to feel about MJF because he is embracing the fans a little bit, but then he does go back and, takes unnecessary shots of Raine or, says a few things here and there. And it's like, okay, like he's not, he just doesn't seem like a good person, but there's like a good person in there somewhere. But we've been duped so many times.
MJF is an a-hole, but you love him. He's a lovable a-hole. That's the bottom line.
But is he though?
Yes.
What about MJF?
When that music hits, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. When that music hits, bro, he gets cheered. Come on, man. They love this guy. People love Max.
Are they cheering him because they like the character, or they just like how talented he is? And this is the problem with wrestling in 2022: is it seems like it's just so meta that it's hard to get a grasp on how people feel about
love
like, the character.
MJF in general. That's they just love the guy, It's a general love of Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, Full Gear is in New Jersey. He's going to be cheered. He's going to be over.
Yes, it's in New Jersey. Go over Moxley, get the huge pop, hold the title, drop it or whatever. Take it to Connecticut in 2024, brother.
But Eddie Kingston beats him at Winners Coming 2023. Our last hope
don't do the book. Don't. There can only be one booker here.
Eddie Kingston. Everybody, let us know. What's the better story? Eddie Kingston beating MJF December 2023 or whatever Phillip has up his sleeve.
No, I'm not.
He just leaves. He just straight up leaves and takes it to WWE.
Just leaves. Goodbye.
Yeah, him and Cody wrestle.
Throws it away in the garbage on WWE television. Could you imagine?
And then he goes and fights with Cody, and he's like, "Oh, look, Cody, I won the thing you never could," even though you're basically just given free commercial time for AEW. But whatever.
I mean, they're not doing WWE numbers, so who cares?
Exactly. We get Bryan Danielson defeating Sammy Guevara. I don't know why I put Danny Garcia on here, but a good match. We get some sort of submission. I kind of was half paying attention of the actual finish, but Danielson wins, so good for him continuing his feud with the Jericho Appreciation Society, probably ending up with him taking on Danny Garcia for the pure title. I would assume we are going to get Jericho taking on a former ROH champion. Who is that? Stay tuned to find out for next week. We get the obligatory one women's match per Dynamite as Jamie Hayter defeats Riho. Tony Storm comes out and seemingly looks like it's going to be Hayter and Storm. We also had Britt Baker and Saraya in a backstage little kerfuffle. We're going to get a sit down with them and Renee next week. So definitely on the track for Saraya's debut match against Britt at Full Gear. And then the main event was Jon Moxley defeating Penta El Zero Miedo for the AEW World Championship. Really good match. Just Moxley hits the Death Rider and the paradigm shift for the win. And the Firm comes out, beats him down, even though MJF said not to. MJF looks conflicted. He ends up making the save, kind of, and then he gets beaten down by the Firm. And so the Firm stand tall, beating down MJF and Moxley. So after the Firm was with MJF for like 2 weeks officially doing things for him, they've already broken apart. And now Moxley and
Did
MJF
they,
are
though?
hurt. I mean,
see, this is where my TNA knowledge comes into play. Remember Aces and Eights? Who was the leader?
Bully Ray.
He got beat down by Aces and Eights. Did he take a couple beatings and licks for the sake of revealing that he's the leader?
So now you're saying MJF isn't going to be a babyface because he's pulling a fast one.
I don't know. There's only one way to find out.
We got to stay tuned for Full Gear.
Yep.
A month away.
Yeah.
Which means then they announce Revolution going to be at the Cow Palace. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Allegedly. And if it's not, I'll be very sad. But yeah, it was a good wrestling episode of Dynamite. The MJF promo wasn't as as dramatic as the other ones were, but still continuing with the story of him seemingly conflicted or whether he's going back and forth. Moxley gets the win. And it was in Virginia. Obviously, I think they wanted Hangman to do something here, but he wasn't there. T's and P's to Hangman. Hopefully he gets better. And the Elite vignette, I think, is the thing everyone's talking about and what people are excited to see what they do. So that is it for AEW Dynamite Superstar Spotlight. Phillip, who do you got for this week's?
Who do you got? Let me see. I'll give it to Wesley. Congratulations on the win of the North American Championship. You could tell how much it meant to him. Shout out to HBK. Indulging him. That's how you do it. Have you seen the comparisons between HBK hugging him and then Khan hugging Cesaro?
I have not.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing, weirdo? On the Khan side, and then on the HBK side, it's like a loving embrace. That's what like the caption says. I'm like, oh, this is
HBO knows how to hug. He's a good hugger.
Did you just call him HBO?
I said HBK.
I could have sworn you just said HBO.
Well, Tony Khan's maybe getting that HBO money.
Maybe, possibly. Match pick of the week is back. I know we haven't done this in a very long time. Stunning Steve Austin, Dustin Rhodes, United States Championship, WCW Halloween Havoc, 1993. Damn, this was good. If Austin hadn't have broken his neck, woo! The matches could have been even more special. Could have been really something special. Thoughts?
People forget how good of a wrestler Steve Austin was.
Tank.
And this is 93, so he's only been in the business for like 4 years at this point. He showed it off. I think, Steve Austin was the mega prospect back in the day. So people who were saying that, him breaking off and becoming a mega star in 96, 97 was a fluke or, was whatever, then they're just completely wrong, because even here in 1993, people knew that Steve Austin was special. And Dustin Rhodes, son of Dusty, he had some pizzazz to him as well, but obviously didn't reach the heights that Steve Austin did. But, two technicians, two well-respected wrestlers in their career. Dustin much more of a veteran at this point than what Austin was, but a fantastic match, and seeing two guys you obviously know who they are, but seeing them in much different circumstances.
Yep. This weekend, Devil's Night 17, the UGWA, we return to Emporium. It is going to be a slobber knocker like none other. Let's read off these matches. Let's read off these matches. Are you excited about Devil's Night?
So excited, just can't hide it. If you got a costume, dress up, have a fun time. Emporium is a place, a wrestling venue like no other.
It is 100%.
Especially if you show up on time, right, Phillip?
You're lucky you're still here after that one. Yeah. All right. Dave Wasted versus JD Slater. That's a big grudge match. You have Brittany Wonder versus Lisa Lace for the Glampionship. Okay. You have the Squad, Battle Kingdom, and Too Fresh. Winner gets a number one contendership opportunity at the tag team titles. Brandon Beach, he's a DJ. He will have an open challenge. Then you also get Super Beast KP, Abigail Warren, Funny Bone going up against the agenda consisting of Anton Voorhees and the Ugwa Tag Team Champions, NPR, obviously accompanied by Pollo Del Mar. Nick Xander defends the San Jose Championship against Dark Sheik. And the main event, the Battle King, Dave Dutra, Sandra Moon, Ugwa, and Pride Style titles on the line. Winner take all. And I believe there's a hardcore match as well. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's going to be fun. Don't miss out on that. Also, December 11th is the first title defense for Alpha Zoe and the Bully Cast Heavyweight Championship. Are you excited?
So excited. Just can't hide it. Everybody, be there, be square.
Yes, Alpha Zoe, a great champion.
Our champion.
Our champion.
Actually shows up.
Yeah. That's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you so much. Stay clean, stay strong, stay safe. Diamonds are forever. So is the Microfilm Messiah. Ciao!